She was just an ordinary French teacher. No royal blood. No political connections. Nothing that suggested she would one day walk through the gilded gates of a palace. And yet, she became the wife of King Mohammed VI of Morocco. Her story shocked the Arab world. For a brief moment, she was a symbol of modern love breaking centuries of royal tradition. But then, she disappeared from the spotlight. What really happened to Morocco's most unexpected queen? And how did her fate turn out after leaving the palace? Let's find out more on Empire Elegance. In the city of Fez, known for its winding streets and centuries-old traditions, a young woman named Salma Benani grew up far from the world of palaces and royal guards. She was not born into wealth or nobility. Her father was a schoolteacher, and her mother passed away when Salma was just 3 years old. Raised by her grandmother alongside her sister, Salma's life was built on family values, education, and quiet determination. From a young age, Salma showed a remarkable talent for learning. She excelled in mathematics and science, earning top marks at Lycée Hassan II, a respected private school in Rabat. Her hard work won her a place in one of Morocco's most prestigious preparatory programs at Lycée Moulay Youssef, where the brightest students trained for competitive fields. Salma didn't just succeed, she stood out. In 2000, she graduated at the very top of her class from the École Nationale Supérieure d'Informatique et d'Analyse des Systèmes, Morocco's leading computer science school. It was an achievement that would have already secured her a successful future. She was soon hired at Omnium North Africa, the country's largest private company, where she worked as a computer scientist. She could have built a quiet, steady career there. But fate was about to take her life far beyond anything she could have imagined. It began with a meeting in 1999. At the time, Mohammed VI was still the crown prince, not yet the ruler of Morocco. By tradition, royal marriages were carefully arranged within noble families, often without much say from the couple themselves. But this meeting was different. It was not organized by powerful relatives or political advisors. Salma and the crown prince met in person, away from the formalities of the palace. What began as an unexpected encounter would soon become a historic turning point for Morocco. When King Hassan II passed away later that year, Mohammed VI became the new king. The young monarch was already known for his modern views and willingness to change old traditions. Yet no one could have guessed just how far he would go to break centuries of royal secrecy. For generations, the wives of Moroccan kings had remained invisible to the public. They never appeared in photographs, never attended official events, and were rarely even mentioned by name. It was an unspoken rule that the royal spouse stayed hidden from the people. But Mohammed VI decided to change that. On October 12, 2001, the royal palace issued an announcement that stunned the nation. The king was engaged, and the name of his future wife was Salma Benani. For many Moroccans, it was the first time they had ever heard the name of a king's bride before the wedding. The news didn't just surprise the royal court, it electrified the entire country. Newspapers filled their front pages with her face. In the cafes of Rabat and Casablanca, people whispered about the young woman from Fez, who had broken centuries of silence. Some saw her as a sign of progress, proof that the king wanted a monarchy closer to the people. Others worried it was too radical, a break with sacred tradition that could invite criticism from Morocco's conservative elite. In the days leading up to their wedding, official photographs were released showing Salma for the first time. She appeared tall, slender, and graceful, with striking red hair and a poised smile. The images made headlines, and her natural elegance drew admiration across the Arab world. The marriage contract was signed on March 21, 2002, in a private Muslim ceremony at the Royal Palace in Rabat. Only close family members attended, but the event itself marked a turning point. Not only was Salma publicly acknowledged, but she was also given the title Her Royal Highness Princess Lalla Salma. No Moroccan king had ever granted such recognition to his wife before. The king went even further in defying tradition. He declared that he would take only one wife and would not practice polygamy, unlike his ancestors. This decision added to the sense that the new reign would be different, more open, and perhaps more connected to the people. The wedding celebrations were planned to last 3 days in April 2002, with music, processions, and guests from around the world. Streets in Rabat and its twin city, Saleh, were decorated with flags and flowers. Traditional Moroccan tents were set up, and the air buzzed with anticipation. But days before the festivities, they were postponed due to the worsening crisis in the Palestinian territories. The celebrations would eventually take place on July 12, 2002, in Rabat. That day, representatives from across Morocco arrived bearing gifts for the bride in a colorful procession filled with music, costumes, and ancient rituals. The Hadiyah ceremony, in which symbolic items like henna, rose water, and dates are presented to wish the couple happiness, was carried out in full tradition. Nearly 1,500 participants paraded before the king, while foreign dignitaries and royal guests looked on. The evening brought the official presentation of the bride, known as the Berza, and even a mass wedding for 200 other couples, a gesture that drew warm praise from the public. Among the notable guests were Queen Rania of Jordan, former U.S. President Bill Clinton, and members of royal families from across Europe and the Arab world. Outside the palace, fireworks lit up the night sky, marking the first public royal wedding celebrations Morocco had seen in generations. With her marriage to the king, Salma's life changed overnight. She was no longer the quiet computer scientist from Fez. She was now Princess Lalla Salma, a symbol of elegance and a rare public figure among Arab royal women. While she did not hold the title of queen, she quickly became the face of Morocco's royal family in public events, state visits, and charity work. Her presence was more than ceremonial. Princess Lalla Salma began using her position to champion causes close to her heart, especially health and women's rights. In 2005, she founded the Lalla Salma Association for Cancer Prevention and Treatment. She worked with global organizations, became the World Health Organization's Goodwill Ambassador for Cancer Prevention, and was named Special Representative by the International Union Against Cancer for its campaign, Today's Children, Tomorrow's World. For ordinary Moroccans, seeing Lalla Salma step onto the world stage was revolutionary. At international conferences, she spoke with confidence beside figures like Carla Bruni in Paris, Queen Rania in Jordan, and Michelle Obama in Washington. For the first time, Moroccan women saw a royal consort who looked like them, who spoke openly about health and education, and who seemed approachable despite her title. She became a role model, a symbol that intelligence and compassion could define royalty just as much as tradition and lineage. Her work extended beyond Morocco. She supported AIDS prevention programs in Africa and spoke openly about empowering women in the Arab world. In 2008, her humanitarian efforts were recognized internationally when Senegal awarded her the country's highest honor, the Grande Croix de l'Ordre National du Mérite. For many Moroccans, she represented a new chapter for their monarchy, one where the king's wife could be seen, heard, and admired, not only for her beauty, but for her work and intelligence. She had stepped into a role no Moroccan royal bride had held before, bridging tradition and modernity in a way that fascinated the public. But with such a visible position came questions. Would her life remain in the public eye forever? Could she balance the expectations of royal tradition with the independence and openness she had come to symbolize? And, in a royal world where history often repeats itself, would her groundbreaking story have the happy continuation people hoped for, or would it take an unexpected turn? The answers, as time would reveal, were not as simple as the fairy tale beginning. But that's not all. In the early months of 2018, the world noticed something strange. Princess Lalla Salma was no longer there. For years, she had stood beside King Mohammed VI, shaking hands with foreign leaders, attending global events, and inspiring women who saw in her a rare combination of royal elegance and personal ambition. Then, without warning, she vanished from public life. There was no farewell appearance, no public statement, not even a quiet announcement in the court gazette. One day, she was Morocco's most visible queen consort. The next, she was gone. The royal palace offered no explanation, not a word. In the silence, speculation rushed in. Some whispered about a quiet divorce, pointing to her absence from official ceremonies and state visits. Others believed she might be under house arrest, her movements tightly controlled. A few even imagined her in political exile, living somewhere far away under a different sky. None of these stories were confirmed, none were denied. For a woman who had brought a modern face to Morocco's monarchy, the disappearance was more than personal, it was symbolic. In a region where royal life is often hidden, she had once been the exception. Now she was a mystery. And then came the questions about the children. Lalla Salma was the mother of two, Crown Prince Moulay Hassan, the heir to the throne, and Princess Lalla Khadija, her youngest. After their mother's disappearance, the children remained with the king, appearing at public ceremonies by his side. They smiled for photographers, attended diplomatic events, and represented Morocco abroad. But never with her. Not once since 2017 has a public image shown Lalla Salma with her children. Was she kept from them? Or did she see them quietly, away from the cameras? Some reports claimed she was denied access, her role as mother reduced to a memory. Others insisted she met them in private, but under strict conditions that she could not appear publicly with them. If true, these restrictions carried a quiet, sharp edge. For years, Lalla Salma had been more than just a royal spouse. She had been a figure of change. She was the first Moroccan royal wife to be photographed and named, the first to carry out public engagements, the first to make people believe the palace could belong, in part, to its women. To remove her from the stage so completely was not just the erasure of a person, but of a message. Yet the royal image of Morocco remained carefully polished. The king continued to post informal photographs on social media, meals with friends, time with his children, and moments from his travels. Lalla Salma was absent from every frame. It was as if she had never been part of the picture at all. Still, she was occasionally seen. A blurry photograph here, a whispered sighting there, dining in Marrakesh, holidaying in Greece, walking along a European port with her daughter. None of these sightings were confirmed, but each one added fuel to the curiosity. If she was free to travel, why had she never been seen again in an official capacity? And if she was not free, how could she move about in public at all? No official statement has ever closed the story. No trusted source has explained the terms of her absence. Even today, she is both gone and present, a shadow figure in the history she helped to write. Her fate remains tangled in the same blend of glamour and secrecy that first made her marriage so extraordinary. Once, she was the woman who could stand beside the king and still seem entirely herself. Now, she is Morocco's silent enigma, her story marked by the same questions that hover over her children. And perhaps the most haunting question of all, in the palace where she once lived, in corridors heavy with secrets, do they still dare to whisper her name? Even today, when Moroccans gather for national celebrations or watch Crown Prince Moulay Hassan represent the monarchy abroad, one question lingers quietly in the background. Where is Lalla Salma? In private conversations, her name surfaces again and again, a reminder of the woman who brought visibility to the palace, only to disappear into its shadows. Her fate remains an unsolved chapter, one that Moroccans and the world may never stop wondering about. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to Empire Elegance, and hit the notification bell for more powerful stories about the lives and legacies of the world's most influential figures. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in our next video.